Hello. Today I'm going to be telling a condensed version of The Ugly Duckling by Christen. Once upon a time, there was a manor by a beautiful duck pond. And one summer, a mother duck sat on her eggs and waited for them to hatch. She had been sitting for a long time and was missing the gossip at the duck pond, so she was ecstatic when one by one the eggs started to hatch into beautiful little yellow ducklings. That is, all except for the final largest egg. This one took a little bit longer to hatch, but eventually it did, and out tumbled not a little yellow duck, but a large gray duckling, much uglier than the other ones. At first, the mother duck was confused. She had heard of other ducks accidentally hatching turkey eggs and struggling to get their chicks in the water, but she thought, I will take my children to the lake and we shall see how he does. So she brought her children to the lake and allowed them to the water. They all took to the water happily, including the big ugly duckling. He surely must be my son, she thought, and she gathered her children up and took them to the old duck. Why, what lovely little children you have, said the old duck. Except for that one in the back. What an ugly, strange fellow that is. Oh, he stayed too long in the egg, the mother duck said, and that's why he didn't come out quite right. But he is a drake after all, and I'm sure he will grow up strong and large. Very well then, said the old duck. You shall be permitted into the pond, so long as you take any eelheads you find to me. And she shooed them off on their way. The mother duck showed her children around the pond, and the little yellow ducklings took to it wonderfully, but the big gray duckling had a bit more of a problem. All the other ducks leered and jeered at him. What a weird, ugly duck, they said. We surely can't have him around us. And they all bit at him, and the woman that would come to feed the ducks during the day would kick at him. And so one day he decided he'd had enough, and so he flew over the fence away. When he went over the fence, he found a marsh. And in that marsh, he found wild ducks. The wild ducks looked at him strangely. How ugly you are, they said, but I suppose it should be fine enough, so long as you don't marry into our family. And so the ugly duck stayed with them, but he stayed to himself, hidden among the reeds. But soon, a shot rang out through the forest. There were hunters amongst the trees, and one by one, they shot each of the wild ducks. But the ugly duckling remained hidden, and so once the hunters were gone, he slowly emerged and went about his way to try to find somewhere else. Soon he came to a hovel, and inside that hovel lived an old woman with her cat and a hen. The ugly duckling slept in through the door, and the woman, being short-sighted, saw him and said, Oh, lovely a duck, now I shall have duck eggs. And she allowed him to stay with her hen, who would lay her eggs, and her cat, who would purr for her. Then the cat looked at the ugly duckling. Can you lay eggs? The hen said. No, I cannot lay eggs, said the ugly duckling. Well, can you purr? Said the cat. No, I cannot purr, said the ugly duckling. Well, then you better find something to make yourself useful, the hen said. What is it that you do? The ugly duckling said, Well, I do like to swim. Civilized folks do not swim, said the cat. If you are to stay with us, you are sure to find something to make yourself useful. Well, then I suppose I should leave, said the ugly duckling. And he left. It was starting to get quite cold as winter was coming. So the ugly duckling came to a farm, and he stayed in the lake. One day he looked up and he saw a massive flock of white birds flying away to find warmer weather. He longed to be near to them, for they were the most beautiful things he had ever seen. And he watched them fly away as he paddled around as the pond slowly turned into ice. Soon he was trapped within the ice, and a farmer came and saw him and rescued him and brought him home to play with his children. But the children were too rambunctious for the ugly duckling, and he was scared they would hurt him for how ugly he was. And so he tried to run away, but in doing so made a mess amongst the house, and the farmer's wife kicked him out. And so, once again, the ugly duckling hid among the reeds and waited for the long, cold winter to pass. When spring came, the ugly duckling found a garden, the beautiful lake, and there he once again saw the white birds, 2 beautiful swans. How he longed to be near to them and to be one of them, but he knew it could never be. I shall fly to them, and I shall let them beat me, he said, for it would be better to be killed by such beautiful creatures than to be pecked by hens or ducks or kicked by birds. And so he flew out to them. But when he moved his neck out, he saw in the water not an ugly duckling, but a beautiful swan as his reflection. The other swans came to him and started preening him. And from the shore, a little girl said, "Father, another swan has come. This one even more young and beautiful than the others." And the ugly duckling saw himself for the first time as a beautiful swan. Wow, he thought, never could have thought I would have so much happiness when I was the ugly duckling. Thank you.